Sam. How are you?
Good morning, Tony. Good to see you. Sorry I had to cancel a couple of times for urgent reasons, but I'm
One of them, I understand. Well, I told the story last week, okay, why you weren't here. I had gotten a call that you were a little under the weather, that you had a temperature, and the rumor was that if you left the house feeling lousy, that Dottie was going to take a baseball bat and chase you, or a tennis racket, which is more likely in your house, and chase you all over the house. So
Actually, I think the reverse may be true. I mean, even though sometimes when I'm under the weather, I want to stay home, she always wants me out.
Oh, she wants to get rid of you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. She doesn't want you underfoot, as they say, right?
No, that's absolutely correct.
Okay. Well, anyway, listen, we're going to be taking some phone calls this morning. I want to talk. I might as well get the heavy subject out of the way first, okay? And I said the statement that I'm going to make right now, I've made on the show 3 or 4 times. I do not expect the district attorney to comment on a local issue that could have legal implications down the road. That would be unprofessional. It would be the wrong thing to do. But I do have a question that I think people out there are interested in, and it's concerning the Joshua Osera hearings. It's concerned with the process and the things that have happened and the comments that have been made. Now, in the course of this hearing, there have been, I guess the best quote to put, allegations have been made of wrongdoing, okay? We won't go any further than that. I would not expect you to comment on that. But people would like to know, because it's been made public in the Gazette, city councilors have talked about this, that after this is done, there's going to be another investigation about these other things. Why or how does it proceed to an attorney general's office as opposed to why or how would it proceed to a district attorney's office, or how or why might it proceed to another district attorney's office outside of this county? What's the process and how does that work?
All right, well, I think I can explain it. First of all, typical crimes, operating under the influence of liquor, drug possession, drug dealing, and then moving up the scale, rape, home invasion, burglary, arson, carrying an illegal firearm, murder. Those are the kinds of cases that are prosecuted by a district attorney's office. Now, the district attorney also does some white-collar crime, larcenies, receiving credit card fraud, embezzlement, but there's sort of a boundary line with embezzlement, and that is that when it gets around the 100,000 mark, at that point in time, we consider sending the case to the Attorney General's office. Cases involving, cases that cross county lines, those cases are handled by the Attorney General's office, and cases involving public corruption. Generally, if it is a state official, that's the Attorney General's office, and if it's a federal official, that's going to be the United States Attorney's office. But there are some instances where there's local corruption that's prosecuted by the United States Attorney's office, and if you asked me why that takes place, why a local political corruption case would be prosecuted by the United States Attorney's office, I would say because of some reason why the Attorney General would not want to get involved in that. But I'm not an expert in that because I never worked for the Attorney General's office and I never worked for the United States Attorney's office. So to recap, okay, your typical crimes that you read about in the newspaper every single day, local crimes, county crimes, those are prosecuted by the District Attorney's office. Crimes across county lines, Attorney General's office. Major white-collar crimes, Attorney General's office. Public corruption crimes, state Attorney General, federal United States Attorney. So I think that's the landscape. Now, on the kind of crime that the Bristol County District Attorney's office prosecutes, if we see a conflict, for example, when I came into office, Tony, I had a successful practice that was about 75% criminal, about 25% personal injury. Any client that I had at the time that I was running for office, that case obviously could not be prosecuted by the Bristol County District Attorney's office. Tom Quinn had a successful practice, also primarily criminal defense. Any client he had, when he made the switch from private practice to first assistant district attorney, that case had to be prosecuted by somebody outside the district attorney's office. So if there are conflicts within the district attorney's office, then we need to bring in a special prosecutor.
Okay, bring in or someone from another district attorney.
That's what I mean. A special, right?
Yes.
It can either be somebody who has their own practice and they're appointed special prosecutor. A classic example of that was when Lance Garth, who's now a judge, prosecuted James Cater for murder. He had worked for Ron Pina. He had the case under Ron Pina. Then when Paul Walsh won, Judge Garth opened up a private practice, but the district attorney at that time, Paul Walsh, kept him on to prosecute the Cater case. And ultimately, when the case went to trial and resulted in a mistrial, then the district attorney decided to appoint somebody within his own office to prosecute Cater. But so you can have a private attorney appointed a special prosecutor, or you can get a prosecutor from another county. So
okay.
I think that explains it.
Sure. I mean, a couple of examples, like last year, had the situation with someone that was in your office out of Attleboro, that right. You wound up getting the Plymouth District Attorney's Office to handle that case because that would have been a conflict of interest.
Within 24 hours, the
sure.
individual had worked for the previous district attorney, Paul Walsh. I had rehired him. He had worked for me when he was charged with those crimes. It was an instantaneous
sure.
decision
sure.
that I made on the phone
sure.
with Bill McCauley. We had to get the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office involved. So that would be a case of a special prosecutor.
Okay. Now, as far as anything, is there any credence to the statement that's been made that the district attorney's office would not be involved in the local any kind of local corruption case because of the district attorney works with every one of these cities and towns within the Bristol County? Is that part of the rationale behind it?
Well, I have a two-part answer to that. As a general rule, the Bristol County District Attorney's Office does not get involved in public corruption cases because we do not have the resources for that. The Attorney General has a specific unit for that.
Okay.
The United States Attorney's Office has a unit for that. And I mean, our primary mission is the kinds of crimes that I spoke to you about. That's our primary mission. Then the next one would be investigating the homicides. Then the next one would be spearheading major drug dealing and gun dealing investigations. And then finally doing something about crime prevention.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the four missions of a district attorney. Public corruption is not one of those. It's not something that is customarily done by a district attorney's office.
Okay.
And furthermore, the second part of the answer would be, if there was a determination that needed to be made, this might be a case that we should get involved in. If somebody at the top of the district attorney's office, myself, Tom Quinn, Bill McCauley, Sylvia Rudman, Paul Machado, had too close a relationship with a particular individual, let's say somebody in law enforcement that we're working with every single day, then obviously we shouldn't be the ones to prosecute that case.
Okay.